Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market. Today, guys, as usual, many news, many stories. We have to talk about several things because we are entering the next is going to be a really important week, but movements have already started. The World Cup is coming to an end, the final week ahead, and so we jump into it together. And we start immediately with the news. We start immediately with the latest, and let me start with the here we go, because Ajax are not only working on a surprising deal to try sign Azzedine Unai, midfielder from Girona. I told you about that story yesterday. 25 million euros his release clause. Ajax are trying to negotiate under that price, but Ajax want Unai because he's a player well known by the coach Mikel, and Ajax have been trying for some time to find a midfielder who can be top elite midfielder. They tried for Dani Ceballos, but at the moment is not advancing, and now also Unai in their shortlist. But Ajax also get a very important striker because the deal is done between Ajax and Al Hilal for Marcos Leonardo, and it's a here we go for 17.5 million euros. So this is the transfer fee. In Brazil, reports were about 25 million euros. My information is Ajax will pay 17.5 million euros for Marcos Leonardo, who said yes to all contract terms, is authorized to take his medical and sign his contract with Ajax, and so new striker for Ajax will be Marcos Leonardo, an excellent addition up front for Mikel and for the director Jordi Cruyff. Talking about the here we go, talking about the big updates, guys, I also want to mention some Turkish news, some Turkish updates. Let's start with Besiktas, because I told you over the week Besiktas will travel, will their management, will travel with their directors to meet with Leandro Trossard and his agent and present the project. Besiktas have an agreement done with Arsenal for Leandro Trossard. 18 million euros plus 2 in add-ons, so package of 20 million euros for Leandro Trossard to Besiktas. Then, now Besiktas need the final green light from the player. The meeting in the US was very positive. In terms of financials, Besiktas are offering what they want from player side. So the contract terms, the salary, everything is ready. 3-year contract plus 1-year option. What's needed now is the final yes from the player, who has to talk with his family, who has to talk with people close to him. Leaving London and going to Turkey is a big decision to do, and now Leandro Trossard waiting to give his final green light to the move. Besiktas are waiting. They believe that here we go is coming soon. And then Mason Greenwood, guys. On Mason Greenwood, Olympique Marseille have accepted all terms offered by Fenerbahce. So the agreement Olympique Marseille Fenerbahce for Mason Greenwood is also done. What happened today is that Olympique Marseille made sure Manchester United were informed about the agreement. Manchester United not only have a sell-on clause, but also have a buyback clause. So Man United technically could say, okay, we want the player back. We can match the offer and we want the player back. But this is not happening. Manchester United are not matching the offer. So now it's about fixing the final cost of the deal. When I mean final cost is not the salary, not the length of the contract, but the extra cost of the deal on player side. And then it's expected also in this case the final green light from Greenwood in order to proceed with the here we go. So Mason Greenwood very close to Fenerbahce. Marseille gave the green light, now waiting for the final green light from the player and also from his camp in order to proceed with this one. So also Mason Greenwood, a big story of these hours, big story of these days. Then, guys, many questions on the situation of Manzambi, because now Switzerland are out of the World Cup, and Joan Manzambi is for sure one of the most interesting talents we saw at the World Cup. He did fantastic. Then he was injured in the final games, but when he had the chance to play, he did really fantastic. On Manzambi, let me explain you the situation. Newcastle have an agreement in place with Freiburg, and it's been the case for some time. So it's already 5-6 days that Newcastle have agreed all terms with Freiburg for Joan Manzambi. For a transfer fee close to 60 million euros, so the package is ready. They were waiting for the player side to confirm the agreement. It's been few days and Newcastle are still waiting for a final decision by Manzambi. Now, one of the clubs trying to call to understand the situation around Manzambi is, according to my information, Aston Villa. There have been 2-3 clubs from Premier League calling to understand the situation, if the deal was closed, if the deal was done. And at the moment, still waiting to check on more. But Aston Villa are one of the clubs calling for Joan Manzambi. Aston Villa can offer Champions League football. Aston Villa need to replace Onana, who suffered a big injury during the World Cup with Belgium. And so Manzambi is one of the players Aston Villa are considering, but depending if Manzambi says yes or not to Newcastle. So let's wait also on this one. Newcastle remain in control, but they need the final green light from the player, and Aston Villa have been calling in the recent days. Then, guys, we have to talk also about Ederson, just quickly. Because on Ederson, I told you the deal has collapsed with Manchester United. The player left England. The player is now on holiday. So Ederson will now relax a bit after the World Cup, after the whole season he had with Atalanta. What's going to happen after that? My understanding is that Atalanta, from next week, will try talk with the agents of the player, with the camp of the player, to offer him a new contract. So Atalanta not only are happy to have Ederson back because they believe he's a top midfielder and they believe the player is fit, but Atalanta are prepared to offer Ederson a new contract to show their trust in the player, despite Manchester United deciding to go against the deal a few days ago. So the position of Atalanta is, we want to keep Ederson and we offer him a new contract. Let's see, obviously, what's going to happen in this case with the player side, because he has 1 year left on his contract and he can have plenty of opportunities in the next months, eventually on a free or on very good conditions. And then, guys, let me close with some mentions to the Barcelona stories, because there are many questions on Barcelona. First point, Karim Adeyemi, Wednesday in Barcelona, medical test, contract signing, in 24 hours he will do everything, and so Barca have their new winger. It's not a surprise. Today Dortmund confirmed that the player is not joining the team, is not joining the preseason. Guys, the deal is done. 22 million euros, 7 in advance, sell on close. Adeyemi can be considered a new Barcelona player. On Ferran Torres, today the questions are, is true that Ferran to PSG, there is already an agreement, the deal is already done with Ferran? Guys, at this stage, I'm told that Ferran is talking, not Ferran himself, but his agents. So forget about Ferran himself, because Ferran is focused on the World Cup and nothing will happen while Spain are at the World Cup. So until Spain are there, semi-final now and eventually final, Ferran will not have any direct conversation. Then, after the World Cup, Paris Saint-Germain are talking to his agents, but the understanding is that more clubs have reached out to his agents, and the new contract at Barcelona is still something that the player is not considering as off. So it's going to be on Ferran, together with his agents, after the World Cup, to make a decision. On Biziou, Jesse Biziou, the winger from Bruges, the deal is at the final stages, is almost closed. There are still some few details to clarify. It will be in the next days. I expect Biziou to join Barcelona for sure, but there is still some detail to fix, and then it will be. And here we go, also this one. Guys, on this and much more, remember to like this video, to turn on the notification bell, to subscribe to the channel, because as you can see, we are here together every single day with all the latest. Let me know your opinion. Mason Greenwood, Trossard, Marcos Leonardo, but also Biziou, Adeyemi, Ferran Torres, stay or go, Manzambi, what's going to happen with this one, your opinion, and then Ederson. I'm curious to see your comments. I will see you soon. Thank you. Ciao.